Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
Quite a busy weekend. A lot of events, a lot of rain falling as well. Definitely didn't mind that, although a little bit too much of it for sure. For some people, for some areas, for some spots in town. And also over the weekend, I didn't actually spot it myself. A friend of mine showed me the forecast information on one of the weather apps. And it was talking about, severe thunderstorm risk, but also a slight risk of, tornado for the region. Okay. Let me first preface that, I don't want that happening. I don't want one touching down. I definitely don't want the bringing of any property damage along with it. Hell, we saw enough of the flooding and damage just from the water alone yesterday. But my exasperated brain immediately thought, well, why not? Why not? Already been through fire, flood, earthquake now? Why not collect the whole set? So glad Alberta is out of the state of emergency now. Always thought of myself as somebody who has got a decent vocabulary. There's certainly some with much more expanded words in their brains. Clearly got a great vocabulary. But there's a spelling bee winner who just spelled a word at 14 years of age to win it all. The Scripps National Spelling Bee down in America, the final word, spelled by Dev Shaw of Florida, was samophile. Samophile. $50,000 first prize to know what the word samophile is all about. To let you know how it is spelled, P-S-A-M-M-O-P-H-I-L-E. I heard the word before I saw it spelled, so I immediately thought samophile. I thought it meant like love of sandwiches, which I am. I definitely am. What it actually means is any organism that prefers sandy places to live. Cool. Samophile. Now you know, could have won you $50,000, but it didn't.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Music history in physical form. Freddie Mercury's effects are going to be put up for auction like is happening right away. Sotheby's in UK says 1,500 personal items specifically, getting into some music news headlines. 1,500 personal items, but one is getting a lot of attention because apparently there are 15 pages of lyrics that are scrawled out on stationery for an airline that doesn't exist anymore for what would eventually be Bohemian Rhapsody. And the revelation being that on these handwritten lyrics, the song does have the title Mongolian Rhapsody written down, but crossed out and seemingly replaced with Bohemian instead. Personal opinion, big improvement. That's much better. I like that. I'm so curious to see what else is in that collection. Sad news, though, as well. Cynthia Whale, a incredibly talented songwriter who is associated with hits from the Righteous Brothers, is You've Lost That Loving Feeling, We've Got to Get Out of This Place, From the Animals, and more, passed away June 1st at the age of 82. It was confirmed by her daughter, Jen Mann. Cynthia, along with her husband, Barry Mann, not Manilow, but Mann, big pioneer, a groundbreaker for women in music and songwriting, and worked alongside other people like Carole King, Neil Diamond, Burt Bacharach in the early 60s to basically shape what pop music in America sounded like. Very talented and definitely will be missed.
Tuesday.
I now know what it looks like when somebody hits a tow truck flatbed like a ramp. You know how you've been tempted to do that anytime you've seen one set up on the side of a road anywhere? As long as that flatbed is tilted, touching the ground, you're going in your head. It's playing. I know it is. But it's not quite like the Dukes of Hazzard. The lack of freeze frame and commercial break in the middle, for instance, is a dead giveaway. But clearly a stupid mistake happened here. You might have seen the footage. Actually, it went all over the internet throughout the last week. And thankfully, it was a mistake that didn't kill anyone. Driver's 21. You can't help but imagine lack of experience was a huge factor here. Still, the only reason the wild footage exists is because of a police officer who was attending another unrelated collision on the other side of the highway. And you can see it in the footage where he's kind of just like, all right, you got everything settled? All right, I'll head back to the cruiser. And oh my God, it is happening right in front of him. Just, weird coincidence that was even able to be captured on footage. Wild. I now have a new fear, right? And now I never will look at those invitingly again, I don't think. It's incredible. It's terrible. Eyes on the road. The sore guts are because they are the most garlicked they have ever been in my entire life. The most garlicked guts I've ever had. It is coming out of my pores today. I think solo show is probably a good idea this morning. I'm just saying, the only thing that could have possibly been more garlicky, I think, would be just crunching on raw cloves, which you can't do. I mean, I've never seen it done. Be impressed if you could. That stuff is potent, but we pulled the classic move last night. No, we went out to get a big stock-up pile of groceries, so many options, ordered food instead of preparing any of it, of course, right? But on a whim, we decided, oh, well, you know what, maybe a small side of garlic fingers, as you do. And I cannot express. This medium does not allow me to give you an example through smell-o-vision or smell-o-radio. The scent that erupted out of that box the moment the lid was lifted was practically peeling the paint off the walls. It was glorious, but there has been a price to pay.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
We got another Law & Order show coming. I don't know how many that makes. Probably, I was going to say baker's dozen. That joke probably doesn't even land because it's probably more than that. It's not an exaggeration. But another Law & Order show is coming. You're on the Steve Reeve Show. It's Criminal Law, or Criminal Intent, rather, a Toronto edition. The title I've seen, Law & Order Toronto Criminal Intent, but it should be Law & Order Criminal Intent Toronto, right? I mean, just flip it. But that's not important. What's important is that it's a Canadian crime show, right? Canadian crime is inspiring these stories, I have to assume, and that means if there isn't a maple syrup heist in there somewhere, then what is the whole point of this? What are we even doing here? What is besides this maple syrup heist, and that is a very real thing, what is the most Canadian crime you can even think of? Let me know. Over in the UK, the number one album is a neck-and-neck race, apparently. Two different acts are about to crest over into the number one spot. Well, you know, only one of them can, but they both look like they will. Those two acts are Noel Gallagher, of Oasis fame, of course, and the Foo Fighters, who you don't really need to say but number one spot, UK album charts this week, they are so close. But here we are from Foo Fighters and Council Skies, which was released, both actually released last Friday, June 2nd. And we'll find out, I guess, by the end. Does it really matter? No. I mean, pick the one you want to listen to more and put that one on. It's as simple as that. Brian Eno in the news because he's actually putting on his first ever solo tour. Yep, 2023, commencing in October in Venice, Italy, all built around an album he put out in 2016, actually, called The Ship, but with new and old bits of music from his entire catalog mixed in there as well. So not like a concept concert album where you're listening to it front to back. No, it's going to be a mix, if, you know, you're lucky enough to be in the audience for it. So the man has had such an influence on music in so many different ways. Be very curious to see what he's like on his own. Yesterday, Apple made big announcements about their new technology, a few different things. Live from California, the biggest thing, of course, though, people are running with it today, the Apple Vision Pro, the new mixed reality headset. What is mixed reality? Well, it's virtual reality, but also augmented reality, and augmented reality is just our reality with more stuff added in there. It's expensive as well. Like, it's going to be over $3,000 American, and Canadians are going to have to pay more money and also get it later, apparently. We don't get it day one. But this is something that they've been working on for quite a long time now. Over 5,000 different patents, 12 cameras, 6 microphones, a variety of sensors that will give users the ability to control their worlds, to step into 3 dimensions, even though we already live in 3 dimensions, right? What I can't wait for, because it's obviously too rich for my blood, is I can't wait to teach someone older and richer than me how to use it while they get excited about the wrong things, you know?
I set the time zone! I set the time zone!
And my phone does that automatically.
I'm gonna see if I can make the font bigger.
The announcement Apple made yesterday that actually did get me excited was an improved autocorrect, where you can still see the words that it changed on you after it's changed them. I mean, I typed S-O so why is it now D-O-do every time?
Wednesday.
For those who have been affected by the wildfires here in Alberta, there is a chance to give back. It's being put on by the kids at Westwood Community High School, a good old-fashioned community car wash, supporting the Red Cross, raising money to help victims of the Alberta wildfires this Saturday, noon to 4. up at Westwood Community High School, 221 Tundra Drive. You can help the students raise some money, get your vehicles shining at the exact same time. I urge you to be there. Again, noon to 4 at Westwood, supporting the Red Cross by getting your car shined up. Sounds like a good thing to me. Geezer Butler, starting us off, of Black Sabbath fame. He's got a memoir that's just come out called Into the Void. It's got a full title, longer title, Into the Void, From Birth to Black Sabbath and Beyond. A lot of B's in there. I like the alliteration. But he was just talking to Rolling Stone magazine, talking about how he is retired. He's done now. He says, I don't want to do anything anymore, except for, have people write his book, read his book that he's written. And there's a lot in there. Apparently, there's even a tell-all excerpt that's all about the rocky 2011 reunion of Black Sabbath. Something that is extremely unlikely to happen again, and the details are on the pages. We also have sad news, a singer with a song that I think everybody knows. When they hear it, at the very least, they go, oh yeah, I know that jam. The girl from Ipanema, Astrid Gilberto, has passed away, aged 83. I mean, she wasn't necessarily the girl from Ipanema, but she sang about her and was an absolute icon in Brazilian music and Latin music, making its way into parts of North America that it just wasn't in before. She was a pioneer. We're weird, aren't we? Like, we get it so attached to stuff. Just random stuff, places, things. Sometimes it's one and the same, like in the case of the slide in Edmonton. The big yellow slide actually has a name that I've never known, the Kiwanis slide. But that was opened in 1974. If you've seen it, you know it. You've probably gotten burns from it. I know I did. I actually had like a scar on my left arm for the longest time from the rug burn because, they tell you on the slide, don't lean forward. Lean forward to hug the grooves. Don't lean back because you'll just start going faster and faster. So what do? Of course, lean back. Shoes caught underneath the potato sack that I was on top of. Tumbled over myself, slid down on my arm. It lasted for 3 years. And I was happy to have it. Badge of honor, right? Today, I'm sad to say, it's getting demolished at 10:30 this morning. It's on the Edmonton Expo grounds, and largely you might have seen it popped out for, maybe one of the K-Days events or something like that. A great number of people have had rides on it. It has also been used to raise thousands of dollars for local as well as international causes. And after so many years in dutiful service, it's going to be gone as of today. Kind of crazy.
Thursday.
Toronto is having a smoky time today. They really are. I'm sure you've seen the coverage, and I know that because this national coverage, it's an important thing to talk about, right? I get a little bit jealous. I'm like, what about our national coverage? We did get national coverage. It's not a thing. But I get that it's a big Canadian city, but you just can't help but think, your 8 on the air quality scale is news, but our yearly 13s are just, par for the course. Is that how that is? I see. New York City also looking rather sepia-toned the last couple of days down in the States. They put the old-timey filter on it, courtesy of Canadian smoke. I mean, you can track where that smoke has come from. It's amazing how far it goes across a continent or across the planet. But, it's something that Americans online have been making sure that we know is our fault.
Okie dokie, sorry to hear about that.
I joke, but it's bad down there with planes grounded at the airport and everything. Fun fact, yesterday was Clean Air Day in Canada. Ooh, yikes.
Thanks for listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
It's summertime, and despite the smoke, we still are looking for a little refresh every once in a while, right? A little cold beverage. And sometimes, maybe you're also looking to turn up a little bit. It's a great time for it. Patios are open and everything. But also you see in the summer, I think a lot more so, around summer and obviously around the holidays when you can be given as a gift, there's a lot of promotional tie-in beers that happen, right? And is there a promotional tie-in beer that has ever been really good? You know what I mean? I mean, drinkable, sure. Most of them are. Most of them aren't offensive or anything like that. You take a sip and go, oh, awful. What are they doing? But I don't think I've ever tasted one and thought, shame it's a limited run, right? I was just seeing ads for a few of them. The Witcher Season 3 is going to be coming out soon, so of course, only available in small quantities in small locations. The Witcher's Brew, Geralt's Gold is one of them. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's going to taste absolutely delicious. Although some of them are non-alcoholic, and I'm glad that they're providing that option. I just also hope that doesn't taste gross as well. One of the biggest stories in music today is is actually the smoke in not just the United States, but largely in the United States, getting a lot of the news real attention. But it's causing a cascading effect as there are major city airports, multiple on the eastern seaboard, that are grounding some flights for today. That's causing some scheduling conflicts. And as well, you've just got straight up cancellations of concerts. Like Chris Stapleton, for instance, he was going to be in New York City last night performing and had to cancel due to the wildfire smoke. Actually, completely understandable. And sad news, as the frontman for the Groundhogs from back in the day, Tony McPhee has died at the age of 79, rather. And McPhee said in 2011 in an interview that has been resurfaced, "My main wish is to be recognized for my contributions to blues and rock and the guitar." The British blues group was 6 decades strong in their career. And unfortunately, confirmed by the band on their Facebook page, he has passed away at home peacefully on the 6th of June from complications following an accident last year.
Friday.
New York City. I don't know how many times I've seen photos of the smoke there. I mean, yes, it was the most smoky, the worst air quality on the planet for a day there. But, I mean, I don't think it's still in that category. Just a lot of smoke. But we've also been dealing with that. But then again, they know that because just this morning, for instance, saw a headline, "How to Protect Yourself from Canada Wildfire Smoke." I guess we're finally dangerous, right? Instead of just the apologists up to the top. What is this blame game? We put way less toxic crap into the sky than the U.S. does on the daily. We know that. It's your smoke now, you know? There you go. It's yours. Have it. So what are we going to do about it? So that this isn't just an every single summer, all summer long kind of deal. New York Post ran a cover with the giant Blame Canada joke on it. They're a bit of a rag, whatever, but still, what the hell did we do? What did we do about it? Calling it Canada wildfire smoke is it's kind of like blaming the states for pushing a hurricane up into the Maritimes during the storm season. Oh, why would you do it to us? How dare you? You actually didn't really do anything to make it happen, but we're still going to place the blame on you anyway, because that way we don't have to look at ourselves. Eric Clapton is starting us off. He's got some tour dates. Nowhere near here, unfortunately, if you wanted to check it out. It's all in the UK and Ireland. There's about 7 different dates in there. A lot of them at the Royal Albert Hall in London, but also Newcastle, Liverpool, Birmingham, Dublin. And it's going to take a while before he's actually on this tour. This June 2023, he let us know that the dates don't start for this little tour, this little intimate show, until May 2024. I guess they don't call him Old Slowhand for nothing. Meanwhile, Gene Simmons of Kiss in the news, also because of something happening in Ireland, specifically Northern Ireland. He attended Parliament to call for the restoration of Stormont, which is basically power sharing in Northern Ireland, and there's a lot that goes into it. He said that he hopes that the Northern Ireland Assembly must be restored to look after people's needs, and that he hopes everything gets back in order in Northern Ireland and that people's business should be done by their elected officials. I don't have any explanation beyond what the facts are in the story. Why he's doing this, why he's there, there's got to be reasons. He's feeling strongly about it, but the internet does seem to be reacting with a collective head scratch.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's in the news a lot lately. I mean, he's got like a new show, Fubar, on Netflix and everything. But he's also got an interview that he did with Danny DeVito alongside, his twin, where he got into it, the two of them, about religion, about the afterlife, about truly deeply moral and philosophical quandaries. He says nothing happens after we die. He's saying he remembers when Howard Stern asked him the question, "Tell me, Governor, what happens to us when we die?" I said, "Nothing. You're 6 feet under. Anyone that tells you something else is a bleeping liar." That's my best, Arnold. But he says, it's not specifically that he says, no, nothing, oblivion, don't even think about it, don't have any beliefs. He says, well, the soul, spiritual stuff, he has no idea about. He doesn't concern himself, who knows? But as for the body, he says, as we see each other now, we'll never see each other like that again. Which, I mean, sounds about right? I mean, the body's just a vessel. It's a temple, but it's a temple made of hamburger. Doesn't last forever. It's funny because people are taking this to mean, so Arnold, You're saying you won't be back. Is that what I'm hearing here? Because get it? Remember? Get it?
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruise FM.